Hi, my name is Victor Ziho, and I'm a bike and climb adventurer. And in 2018, I made a radical change in my life. Um, from that point, I decided that I'm going to live fully for my adventures, and I wanted to start making a living of my passions, cycling and climbing. When I was on my first longer bike trip in 2014, then I cycled from Hungary to East Turkey to the Mount Ararat, and I climbed this mountain. And right after that, I had some smaller injury. Due to that, I couldn't really ride the normal bikes. Um, my ass had a pain in it when I was riding more times, 100 kilometers. So I just figured out I will just try another bike. Yeah, there was an alternative, which was a recumbent bike, and I bought my first recumbent bike in 2015. And right after that, I made my next bike adventure with that type of bike, which was an Alps crossing cycling trip with 1,000 kilometers and about 20,000 meter elevation gain. And I realized that it's possible to climb mountains, to climb high passes even with a recumbent bike. And yeah, my first recumbent bike was M5 Blue Glide. It was an old bike. I bought it second hand, and it was changed. Almost half of the equipment was changed. So I decided that I will make a longer bike trip with my recumbent bike. And there was a Hungarian philologist exactly 200 years before my departure, and he departed from Hungary by foot. And he got to Ladakh, the northernmost point of India, and he started to make researches about the Tibetan language, which was not a known language at the time. Nobody knew anything about it. So he was the pioneer of Tibetan language, and he was the first author of a Tibetan dictionary and also Tibetan grammar. As a remembrance about his work, I made a tribute trip from Hungary to India, and I made this trip entirely by bicycle. I didn't use any motorized transportation like cars or buses or airplanes. I cycled from Hungary to the east point of India, which is Darjeeling. It's in West Bengal territory, and that's the place where Alexander Tuma, this philologist, was buried. So it took me 11 months, and it was 13,000 kilometers. And yeah, there was a lot of wonderful moments in this expedition, and also I had some problems with immigration and COVID-19, and also with the bike. It broke down a lot of times. And when I was cycling in Afghanistan, it was like cycling or just being in the Middle Age. Honestly, it was so different. It was something else than the life in Europe. I I experienced a totally different aspect of life. How people can live without infrastructure, without basic things that we think that those are basic things. And also another thing that yeah, the Recommend connects and also inspires people. And people just start a conversation. It's very good to make people interactive with you when you're traveling because you got something special under you. You're traveling with that. People see that it's very comfortable, especially in Pakistan and India. They even ask if it's a bicycle or it's a motorbike, or they just don't know what it is. And there's a whole lot of people involved, and you can you can have a lot of conversations. That's great. There was no problem with safety. There's a lot of people telling me that Pakistan is not a safe place, but I don't think that there's a lot of concerns about Pakistan. Well, currently Afghanistan is much more funky. I had a short trip to Africa. Well, I planned this trip 2 weeks long, but I missed my flight. And it was only 10 days, finally. I made a sea to summit expedition from the Indian Sea, from Mombasa. I cycled up to Kilimanjaro, and I could cycle until 4,700 meters to the Kibo Hut. And then I had to carry my bike. Of course, it was not a recumbent bike trip. I had to use a mountain bike. So for this trip, I used my custom-built mountain bike. I built that bike for years long, and I tuned it a lot of times. Yeah, it was great to ride. But the last 1,200 meters, I had to carry the bike on my back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of overwhelming because we did it during the night. We started at midnight, and we ended up at the summit at 6 o'clock. So it was just too much carrying the bike and in the darkness, and it was kind of depressing. But then the altitude sickness came. I was not acclimatized enough, so I didn't feel good at the summit. I had some headache, and we had to turn back in half an hour. Yeah, currently I'm riding the SZ Max, which is a full suspension sofa gliding in the road. That's how I could describe it. The favorite thing in the bike, as I mentioned you, is the suspension. It's just great because when I cycled in Tajikistan and Afghanistan, I really missed the front suspension. And on this bike, it's a totally different feeling to ride it on gravel road. It just floats on the gravel road. It's crazy how I see that the suspension works under me. And then I also have the rear suspension, which is very fine tunable. I can also lock it. Also the front fork I can lock. And for sure, both of the suspensions have air springs, so it's very easy to set the pressure and the preload. And the other thing I really like is the sofa. This one. It's very comfortable. It's much wider than on the previous bike I had. And also the gears. The gears are very nice. They are Shimano Deore and SRAM X5 components, and they work properly. Like, they shift very, very quickly and punctually. I have the Bush & Muller lights. The front light is completely like a motorbike light, so it's very strong. I can set the strength of the lamp. There's two steps, and the hub generator charges it, and there's a small battery inside, so that in case if I'm not using the light, it charges the battery, and that can also charge the devices I connect to, like my mobile or my GoPro or my headlamp. So it's pretty handy. Currently, I'm cycling from Hungary, from the highest point of Hungary, the Kékes. I'm cycling to the northernmost point of Europe, which is the North Cap. It's a 4,000 kilometer long bike expedition, and it's a winter edition because I will arrive to the North Cap in the middle of December, when I'm expecting that I will see some Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. That was my childhood wish, to see the Aurora Borealis. And in the recent years, I figured out that once I will ride the bike under the Aurora Borealis, and especially with a recumbent bike, it will be a kind of awesome experience, because when you're riding, you always watch the sky. I'm supposed to ride on the Norway side, so from Oslo I will go to Trondheim, and then on the E6 all the way on the coast. The funny thing is that the last 1,000 kilometers contained 16,000 meters elevation, so that will be hard. I don't think that I can make 100 per day. Before Trondheim I expect some snow or ice on the roads, so I have to get spiky tires in Oslo, the capital of Norway, and then I think I have to change the tires immediately. And after Trondheim, maybe I will get the marathons back on the bike, because I will have plus something degrees. And after the Arctic Circle, it will be cold. It will be minus. Follow me on Instagram and also on my YouTube. This is my Instagram, Ziho.ag, and my YouTube is simply Ziho, my surname.